Hi, everybody. I'm Bianca Della Garza, and you have to check out Gene Valentino's Grassroots Truthscast podcast. I was a guest. He has the best guests always. Check him out.
I'm Gene Valentino, and I approve this message.
Trump won, but we know the real fight starts now. Congress needs a champion to move the MAGA agenda forward.
I'm Gene Valentino. Like Donald Trump and Elon Musk, I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman and innovator. When I'm elected, I'll put you, the American people, first. We'll abolish federal income taxes. We'll slash the budget and eliminate whole government departments. We'll send every illegal immigrant packing. My message to DC is simple: lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Good afternoon and welcome to Newswire. I'm Logan Raddick in for Bianca Della Garza. The Supreme Court upholding the TikTok ban, rejecting the social media company's First Amendment challenge to the law that effectively bans its parent company ByteDance in the U.S. Our national correspondent Alana Austin is on Capitol Hill with the latest. Alana.
Ahead of a new law that requires TikTok to divest from the Chinese parent company ByteDance or shut down over the weekend, President-elect Donald Trump is weighing in as he looks to strike a deal. Trump taking to Truth Social, saying the Supreme Court decision was expected and everyone must respect it. My decision on TikTok will be made in the not-too-distant future, but I must have time to review the situation. Stay tuned. Arkansas GOP Senator Tom Cotton, the new chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, says this: ByteDance and its Chinese communist masters had 9 months to sell TikTok before the Sunday deadline. The very fact that communist China refuses to permit its sale reveals exactly what TikTok is: a communist spy app. The Supreme Court correctly rejected TikTok's lies and propaganda masquerading as legal arguments. Delaware Democratic Senator Chris Coons, a member of the Senate Foreign Relations and Judiciary Committees, sympathized with outraged users, but said it is a means by which the Chinese Communist Party collects data on millions of Americans and directly influences their political views and conduct. We must take common sense measures to protect our democracy and national security from those who wish to do us harm. The Supreme Court's order also noted that bipartisan and nonpartisan officials worked for years to find a solution with TikTok. Alarm bells went off that they still refuse to cut ties with China. But TikTok has argued that without ByteDance's algorithms, considered unique intellectual property, it would take years to rebuild or be impossible to replicate the same design beloved by millions of users. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, a New York Democrat, saying here he is hopeful that there can still be time to reach a positive outcome for all.
Everyone, the Biden administration, the incoming Trump administration, even the Supreme Court, should continue working to find a way, an American buyer, to find an American buyer for TikTok, so we can both free the app from any influence and control from the Chinese Communist Party and keep TikTok going, which will preserve the jobs of millions of creators.
The White House also signaling that at this point, it is leaving the issue in the hands of the new Trump administration. Back to you.
Alana Austin on Capitol Hill. Alana, thank you. And here to talk more about this, host of the Grassroots Truthcast podcast, former county commissioner in Escambia County, Florida, GOP political strategist Gene Valentino, and former federal prosecutor Doug Burns. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here. Gene, we'll start with you. The Supreme Court has decided to uphold that TikTok ban. The Biden administration said they won't enforce the ban, but TikTok still plans to shut down. Meanwhile, you have American investors like Kevin O'Leary offering to buy it for as much as $20 billion. President-elect Trump says he'll need time to review that situation and make a decision in the, quote, not too distant future. So, Gene, what do you think happens with TikTok in terms of who it may be sold to?
Well, this plays in perfectly to what President Trump had been telegraphing to us months ago. TikTok is a known adversary by the Chinese Communist Party, and as a result, we're seeing the disruption of China's attempt to take control of the very soul and heart of our nation. President Xi's on the phone recently in Mar-a-Lago directly with Donald Trump, no small coincidence. Hasn't had a similar conversation with Joe Biden, but felt the need to with Donald Trump. I support every effort possible. I seldom agree with Chuck Schumer, but if we can have an American entity buy TikTok, and with the assurance that the algorithms and the integration points are removed from China's access of our data, then I'm okay with it. Otherwise, get rid of it completely, and also take back the 350,000 acres of land China has currently in and around military or defense facilities around the nation.
Now, Doug, President Biden on his farewell tour, he was speaking moments ago at the U.S. Conference of Mayors celebrating his accomplishments. Here's part of what he had to say.
I'm with you and your governors to make the devastating hurricanes and floods and tornadoes and wildfires, like the catastrophic fires and wildfires in California. Together, we push Congress for extra disaster relief funding, to rebuild homes and businesses across the Carolinas, to cover the full cost replacing the collapsed Key Bridge in Baltimore, and so much more.
Many of those things that he mentioned are disasters that his administration was criticized for. Doug, what's your reaction?
A very, very difficult tour that he's on, obviously. The other night, he looked into a camera, seriously, and said, I'm concerned about oligarchs playing too big a role in the United States of America. Was he complaining about that when Facebook and other major titans and oligarchs and billionaires were blocking and censoring information, which allowed him, for the most part, to win the election? I mean, it's just breathtaking to watch these last few tours. I mean, actions speak louder than words, obviously, and he has a very, very poor record. But it's amazing how he'll just breathlessly look into a camera and say, for example, by the way, crossings at the border way down under I mean, it's just amazing, honestly, guys.
Yeah, Biden warning about oligarchs, but giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to George Soros. Now, Gene, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is facing the Senate Committee on Homeland Security. That's where she's having her confirmation hearings. The election proved that the border is certainly a top concern for Americans. How do you think she's going to fare as DHS Secretary if confirmed?
Still waters run deep. I think Kristi Noem is going to be one of our cabinet's biggest surprises in the support, administration, and execution of Donald Trump's agenda. Heads up on Kristi Noem.
All right. And Doug, now the New York Times reports Vivek Ramaswamy is preparing to announce a run for Ohio governor. This, of course, because Mike DeWine, the governor of Ohio, he appointed John Husted, his lieutenant governor, to fill the Senate seat that was left vacant by J.D. Vance becoming vice president. What do you think of Vivek Ramaswamy as governor? He's obviously been appointed to work with Elon Musk at Doge. Do you think he'll end up running and becoming governor of Ohio?
Well, that's the tricky issue. You know, does he work on the, government efficiency stuff, Doge, as you just said? Or should he run for governor of Ohio? I mean, it's his choice, obviously. I know the current governor, I believe, is going to be termed out. I think Vivek Ramaswamy would make a very good governor. But again, it's a question of, is he better off in the state house or in the federal government?
Now, Gene, back to you quickly. We got New York City Mayor Eric Adams. He's set to meet with President Trump in Palm Beach amid speculation that Trump may grant him a presidential pardon. This comes after Adams met with Trump's incoming border czar, Tom Homan. Do you think, Gene, that this signals his cooperation with Trump's agenda, or is this all about getting that pardon?
Well, I don't think it's as much about getting that pardon. When Trump was talking about him in the early days, he had no reason to expect Trump to give him a pardon when Trump was suggesting, watch out, he's next. And sure enough, he was. If he got the pardon, it would be less a concern to me than the pardon given to Hunter Biden and the many felons that have been released unconditionally under the Biden administration. It's a complete miscarriage of the administration of this past 4 years, and I think has been the most blatant harm in plain view to all Americans. It's really a shame.
All right, Gene Valentino and Doug Burns, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your time.